Hey everyone, this is post recording and post LL Trent. I just wanted to come on and say a quick thing that we recorded this episode before the first weekend of ProQuest for Pro Tour Singapore. But I feel that the insights we shared on what a post Enigma meta looks like were pretty relevant and can still be pretty good insight on what the meta could look like going forward. So just wanted to get that out of the way. Enjoy the first episode of the Three of a Kind podcast.
Uh, hey guys, this is the Three of a Kind podcast, and we're going to be talking about the meta shifts coming after Enigma and eventually Aurora, as well as the future of Valda.
As well as high seas and
Correct.
kind of what that can bring. I'm Trent,
I'm Christian.
And I'm Yanina.
and we are the Three of a Kind podcast.
Yes. I think the first thing we need to talk about is probably the meta post Enigma, because that's like the most upcoming one. She's, at 98 points.
Mm-hmm.
Something like
89. She's 89.
89?
Because
Okay.
Zen is still higher. Zen is 991,
Yeah.
and that is the the decider.
Gotcha. So post Enigma, the meta opens up kind of like drastically, I think.
Mm-hmm.
She gatekeeps a lot of decks, especially Guardians. Like without, I know that we still have Prism, but I think Guardians can do a little bit better into Prism just because of the natural amount of poppers that they run.
Sure. The
I mean,
issue,
sure.
I will say, the issue is Spectra Auras
Yes.
and like having to run time skippers again or
Yeah,
other stuff to generate the action points.
for sure. But Aurora's still around, and I think that if Prism tries to go towards the more Aura route, she just gets blown up
Yeah.
by Aurora.
I think the more open a meta is, the less Prism has a foothold, I feel like. But that's my
Yeah,
thing.
no, I kind of agree. Like because the meta is so like understood and like it's they say it's an open meta, but it really isn't. It's like you play Aurora, you play Florian, or you play Enigma.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's what it kind of feels like right now.
Uh
No, we can play Fang.
hey, Fang's put up results. Fang won a battle harden. Like it's like a legit deck. If there's Enigma was really hard for it, I feel like, because but he was the most favored into Enigma out of
Out of
all
all
the
the
warriors.
warriors.
I think, but he did have it's the warrior issue into that class
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I would say those three are a good thought, but I think like Florian didn't perform. I think about the PT, right? PT,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
uh, we had Enigma, we had Prism, we had Aurora. And I think those three decks have like really interesting dynamics between the three of them, where Enigma kept all these other things down that honestly probably could like handle Aurora well, where it's like
Mhm.
these disruptive like Guardian play and like the big attacks with the like the relevant crush effects or on hits that like that Aurora had to actively respect. And like some of those decks also have game into Prism if they're on the more Herald centric plan because they're kind of forced to be. Um, and like that change is definitely going to shake things up.
Yeah.
Um,
I
and
honestly think that post Enigma, Florian can now transition to his stronger build, in my opinion, which is the OTK, because now he can just sit there and stack chance, and he doesn't have to worry about Enigma, just like building that board state up. Excuse me.
mhm.
And he's gonna be able to block out Aurora so much better when he's on that OTK plan.
Yeah, trying to think what else like.
I don't know. I think he's still a really good mid range. Like I like the block 2 cards, send 2 cards back. It's like uh, I mean, I've tried the OTK because I'm main Florian, and it kind of just feels like you're like, okay, finally I have enough rune chance, but they're about to kill me, and I'm gonna die
Yeah,
if I don't do anything right now.
it's an interesting deck. I haven't played enough of it or had enough experience into it on the decks that I feel like have a genuine like I didn't. It's a surprise, right? Where people spent so long with this mid-range version of it that once people show up with the OTK version of it again, it could just like blow someone out because they weren't ready for it. And I think back to the PT games like with the Decimator Fang. Like it's like, what the heck do I do against this? But decks, like you were saying, Enigma gatekeeps those decks hard.
Yeah.
I have a hard time in my mind working out what goes well into that sort of deck at the moment. Because it's not in the zeitgeist. Like it's not in the forefront of everyone's mind at the moment. But there is genuine game plan. There's certain decks that sometimes their turns just go so huge that it doesn't matter. Like Yanina was saying. Like I can definitely see Aurora having a turn or two like that, where it's like, okay, I can block out as much as I physically can, but the second that you have like a CLV already on the table, arc lightning flicker, like something crazy going on, where you're able to just do this massive amount of damage, you're buying so much tempo. And the biggest thing with those decks is if you can keep tempo going against them and keep them off this 5-card hand, they're like kind of taken out at the knees. Where I feel like the Warriors have, I don't know. I would my gut says, oh, they have a better fridge, but Florian's fridge is huge.
It's massive.
Yeah.
And I know that the headpiece coming out in the Viscerai LL Army deck is like convention exclusive, but once we get access to the Gem 3 packs, like that's I know that it's not there's no crazy ability on the helmet, but it blocks 3.
It's one more block than the Rune Blade
Yes.
helmet we have right now, but I like the drawing a card when it's stuck because there's a lot of hands when I play Florian. It's like I either have 3 attacks and 1 non-attack, or they're all non-attacks that I can't really chain. There's no go again. I like being able to filter with the helmet. It really helps me like change the tide a lot. Even if I don't use it for discarding a card with the opponent, it's more like for me, I can draw a card.
Mm-hmm. And putting it in the perspective of the OTK version, like they're not getting as much value out of Face Purgatory because their only attacks in the deck are like Ninth Blade, which they're playing.
They're probably still on Felling of the Crown just because if you're sending that with Rune Chance,
Maybe, yeah, I can see it. I can't remember. I've played against one recently, but I can't remember exactly what their list looked like. I know it was like remembrancing back the Ninth Blades, and then all the you run. I don't know if they were on Rainbow or just 6 of the Rootbound Carapace.
I think Felling is definitely going to stay in the deck even if it's OTK, just because there's really not like a lot of really good decompose cards, and you really need your ability to turn on if you want to do the OTK like as fast as possible.
Mm.
So like Felling of the Crown, even if it's not like really useful for the attack in that case, it's you want it to decompose, and it's like one of the best decompose cards you can get in Florian. So
Also, Earth 3 block.
Yep.
And another part of that deck is you really want Channel the Millennium Tree. And Channel Millennium Tree, like, you want to keep it around for multiple turns. So, like, Felling,
Yeah.
Plow Under.
It's pitchable
Yeah.
for that, yeah.
Blue Autumn's Touch, maybe even Yellow. But just to kind of keep that rolling, you know?
I know that a lot of Verdances have been on at least red and yellow
Rootbound?
Fruits of the Forest.
Fruits of the Forest. Yeah.
Yes.
Red attacks for 7 it's like kind of good.
It's more so for the poppers.
Yeah. That's also
like the main reason they're running
that is also true, because the deck might not. They definitely the OTK doesn't have as many. They have Ninth Blade, and that's like big thing.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what the deck really looks like. I haven't done as much research on it, but I can definitely see it being something that rises up a bit more.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of different.
What other heroes are we like expecting to like come back into the meta after Enigma leaves?
Dark Horse, Teklovasan. I know a lot of.
Really?
There's been a lot of different people have talked about like.
Okay.
Another thing too is like he hasn't had like a meta share. But I think like slowly there's like this group of mechanologist players that are just like, like the Illuminati. They're just like working
Yeah.
together on this deck,
They
and
get
like
closer every single
I
time.
know of like okay, we have the adaptive dissolver, we have like this and that, and like the instant speed ones that can like go on top of all the other things. Um, just the more and more that they give to Evos, because they've been slowly drip feeding like new Evos and things, and even like I'm pretty sure the new max deck, the headpiece is a base. So you can
Yeah.
build on the new headpiece from the max armory deck and different things like that. So Teklevosson's another one that I like. I don't know how popular it's gonna be, but I think definitely it's another one that could rise up more. I think the fatigue warriors definitely come up.
Yeah.
The
I think
decimator axe warriors.
I definitely think Assassin is going to, not that they're not good now, but losing Enigma from the meta, that's a large percentage of the bad matchups that you don't want to see leaving the tables.
Yeah, yeah.
So like new is going to be really good. So I think so Slippy and Mario, they're going to rise up because I mean your worst matchup is Enigma. That's like the thing you don't want to see.
I really don't like assassins. I mean, new is fine because I'm a Florian main, just because thanks for banishing for me. But
Yeah.
other than that,
Yeah.
ugh,
I
assassins.
will say if Aurora still has this big of a meta share, new is not a good call. I
Really?
think that Aurora is pretty favored into new, especially this like CYB new that exists that I think a lot of
Mhm.
people have been on when they're playing the deck. Um, and because I think they can just outdamage it. Because CYB, you can't block. And that's
Yeah,
like
no.
the biggest thing
Yeah.
about it. So I think that new stocks go I would say they stay about the same, to be honest. Because
Mm.
I think the new and Enigma matchup wasn't actually as bad, but Slippy and Mario, I can definitely see both of them rising up. The
Yeah.
biggest thing is the more Mario's being around in the meta, the more people are going to see kind of what it falls to, which is not getting Mark. And if it doesn't have Mark
Right.
going, that deck can kind of fall apart.
100%. That's how I felt when I played it because like when Mario came out, it's like one of the first things I did is I picked up all the Mario cards and I played it a little bit and I was like, man, this deck just like doesn't do anything if I'm not marking my opponent. But like I want to hit my opponent with these attacks that when they're marked, like I have like Mark of the Black Widow. Like I want to attack with this, but I think I get more value of just passing and arsenaling it and actually transforming, and then I can get both. But it's like you're losing so much value by waiting because like you don't know what your opponent's gonna do on their turn that could like make that arsenal just kind of just not a non-bow.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
I was gonna ask. You were talking about Christian Max Nitro earlier. Do you think that
Yes.
he's gonna be really good or kind of?
All right, hear me out. This is my hot take, right? I think people are like
Sleeping on him?
dismissing the armory deck for being poor way too soon. Um, there's something going on there that I think
Just look at him. He looks so cool. He better be really good. I want.
I know the Max Discord is not high on it, so it's like this is coming from someone who doesn't play Max, but just like looking at it, I think someone's gonna do something with it.
Yeah.
I'm going to tear apart your entire reasoning of why Max is good with two
Okay.
words: block.
Mm.
If people learn to block the wrench, you can't keep plant press, you can't keep hyperdrivers. Like, wrench is the only reason that that deck I feel like could have legs, and like keeping steam counters on these things.
Right.
And I think the second you players like realize that, the deck doesn't do as what it
Yes,
wants.
it's kind of like when people figured out how to block around Syndra.
Yep.
Or like News Mystic, the blue one would go again.
Oh, the
Just block
dagger.
the dagger.
Because Dio is another deck I feel like could rise up with Enigma being gone because a lot
That's
of
my
their
next pick.
damage
Yeah.
is boom grenades. And that's how you catapult yourself into winning that
Yep.
game is with boom grenades. If you're warded out or dereacted, like you get no value out of your boom grenades, which means
Yeah.
you're not doing as much damage as you can because those are the turns where they buckle down, just don't they block out everything and then
Hmm.
just can't really do anything. Um
And I think the counter to that even happening is what might happen is like the Guardians come back.
Yeah.
We have Guardian Mastery Pack right on the horizon, and depending on what tools get out of that, I'm
Yeah.
super excited for that. By the way,
I think
as a pseudo Guardian player,
I'm
It-
really curious if they make another Guardian with that coming out.
I think so. I told him that. There's probably going to be a Guardian in that pack.
Because the biggest thing they were like selling with it is it's the crack shuffle play format that they did for Bright Lights, right? Where they're like wanting to push something, but we don't have all the information yet is the biggest thing with it.
yeah,
Where New Valda, awesome. But also the Smash Palace product, there was at least 2, I think, other Guardians pictured on there that were not Guardians that exist yet. There was
The
a
one with the horse bottom, right? It's like a.
they
no,
showed
they
her.
that.
They showed her.
Oh, and James White did say during the keynote that this is not the last time we're seeing that character.
So
Okay.
she'll be an adult
He
sometime.
did. He snuck that in there. So that might be one of the Guardians that we see. That
Also, I know that LSS is like very much known for like secretly telling you what they're gonna do in the future without telling you. So I feel like this Guardian pack is really, it's like, hey, we're gonna have new Guardians in this Guardian pack.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Another one that I feel like could rise up is Azalea.
Verdance.
Oh, Verdance too. Yeah.
Verdance, 100%. And Azalea, I agree with that. I think
She had
I
her
don't-
time.
I don't think there's enough people on the aim counter build
Yeah.
for Azalea.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
With Sandscour Great Bow,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of threatening on hits with those aim counter arrows that you've seen just from my aim riptide.
Not a bias
like,
take at all. Not a bias take at all from a biased guy.
No,
not from the
no.
Ranger main, but no.
The big Ranger guy.
No. I think a lot of these aim counter arrows are actually like really good with the right support, and Sandscour and Azalea is just like, come on.
Yeah.
Every arrow that gets flipped up from your ability just gets an aim counter.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question. What do you think the set after High Seas is?
I have a hot take on that.
Yeah.
He does have a hot take
I have
on
like
that.
a steaming hot take on that.
Okay. Take a steaming
So-
hot take right now.
Okay, the gem packs. What have they told us is in them?
Well, okay, the LS helmets. I don't think Monarch 3 is the next set. I know that people are talking about it, and even James White himself, I'm pretty sure, would say it's on the horizon. But I don't think it's the next set. Maybe. I think we've had
have
this
you seen-
conversation about.
Have you seen the event package for one of the events post High Seas?
No.
That it is a Light of Soul playmat,
Okay.
and it's supposed to be like in between the next set and High Seas. But yeah, like if you look at Gem Pack 3, like even the art on the pack is kind of like purple and red.
You know who I want to see?
Who's that?
You say purple and red. You know that playmat that came out? It was like Blood of the Rune Blood or something like
Thousand
that.
Rune Blood.
Thousand Rune Blood. That girl with like the red, and she kind of had like a necromancer helmet on or something like that. She would be a really cool hero.
She also
I
the face
think.
Purgatory girl, or are they look different enough?
I'll compare them while
I'm
you
not
guys
sure.
talk. I'll get back to you on that.
Definitely. But yeah, my hot take is that they pushed up Monarch 3. So, because when they were originally talking about High Seas, it was, from what I've gathered from the Purple Discord, which take that as you will.
Yeah.
It was a merchant set by design at first.
Mm.
And then there was so much hype around pirates that it just ended up getting shipped as a pirate set. And they were trying to find the right fit for the first Necromancer in the game. And James White said it himself, what better way to introduce Necromancer than with pirates? But because Necromancer had to get pushed forward for High Seas, I don't think they want to repeat the mistake that they did with Outsiders when they introduced... Well, was it Outsiders? No, Dynasty, when they introduced Assassin.
Where like a class is short printed?
Where the clash just... Well, not just that, but the clash just came out and it was just like, there's no...
It was short printed. It was short printed more than anything else. They didn't give them enough actual playable cards.
Exactly.
And that was, and also like the hero was kind of underwhelming, I think was like their biggest takeaway. And then Outsiders like took it in a whole new direction because they were like, this contract thing didn't really work. And then I think a good example of that is well, to be fair, it's a little bit different where it's like it's like a subclass. I was like Draconic Warrior. Draconic Warrior I
Yeah.
think is really interesting. And like what they printed, what making them like there's so many points to make here. Okay, number one. Assassin came out in a supplementary set that was like, okay, here are all these cards that are support this other thing, and like everything else that's kind of come out so far too was to also think about um all the supplementary sets. When they're introducing something, they don't have enough stuff to work with, like Icelander, Kasai, OG KO. Like all these heroes, when they were introduced in like Crucible, had nothing to work with, and they like just kind of sat around for a little bit. And then Everfest came out, gave Kasai more cards that actually worked with what she wanted to do, and like more specific wording and this and that, which I feel like LSS has gotten a lot better at. And then Assassin was another one of those things where it's like, oh, this is a supplementary set. We're introducing this whole new class and trying to work within it. I don't think you can do that. I think
Yeah.
Draconic Warrior was the perfect example of how they learned from that mistake, where they printed genuine cards that worked really well with what the hero wanted to do. Not to say the assassin cards didn't work with the hero they printed. I just think the hero himself was underpowered. I think Fang being worded and created the way he was left a really, really good design space for new cards, especially new cards for a subclass that hadn't existed yet.
But so to go off of that, I think that they don't want to repeat their mistake with Assassin when they introduce the new class, and I think that we're gonna get like 1 to 2 Assassin sets really fast after High Seas.
You mean
so-
Necromancer?
That's what I meant.
I was like,
Necromancer, so-
Assassin, not again, not after Mistveil and Hunted.
No, not my fault.
Yeah. Like
no, I
filler
think we're gonna
cards for
get
Necromancer?
Yeah, we're gonna get a Necromancer probably like directly after High Seas, and I think going back to Monarch, getting like a Shadow Necromancer will be
Thematically makes sense.
Exactly.
Brute?
I do think Brute is due, but I don't know if Levia is the way that they're going to go with it. And if they are, I hope they print more generic Brute cards, because I think of Dusk Till Dawn. Dusk Till Dawn, only like generic Brute card that was printed was Scowling Fleshbag, which, to be fair, good card. It did what it did a very powerful thing and instantly became a staple in the Brute decks, but no other Shadow. Well, okay, not no other. No commons and rares are played from that set. Not a single card. Like there were some that were like played with, like Grim Feast, I think was the card that people were messing around with for a while with Levia, which was like banish top card of the opponent's deck if it's the color matching the color of the Grim Feast that you played. They take 1 damage, and it was like, okay. It also didn't have Go Again. It was weird. But no other card from that set was played, and I think Brute needs help. Like, I think Heavy Hitters was good, but now it's like again, like it's in a weird space where it's not doing enough to threaten decks anymore.
Right. I think by the nature of Heavy Hitters as well, just because it was like it had to be designed around Warriors and Guardians as well, that most of the cards in it are just like KO cards.
Mm-hmm. It's a fundamentalist set. I think more than anything else, it's a fundamentalist set. And also to kind of counteract your point a little bit, there were some cards that went to Rhinar that I absolutely adore. Like I think Beat Chest was a really cool mechanic, and I think it's a really, really nice and fun mechanic that also works with previously printed cards very well. And like some of the Intimidate cards that they printed, which granted they didn't print a lot, but new Rhinar spec, like I like it way more than Alpha Rampage.
Splattersoul is crazy.
Splattersoul was crazy, and that wasn't even Heavy Hitters, but
it wasn't.
I
just remember that card's insane.
Yeah, Rawhide Rumble. Rawhide Rumble is another card that I absolutely adore in Rhinar. It's like it's kind of Alpha Rampage at home, except it's like more flexible. Is the big thing with that one that I really enjoyed. And I think Brutes, sure, they're kind of working with some things that they had already had, but I think branching out a little bit more, like send packing, was good. And I think that Dusk Till Dawn didn't like mess with anything new necessarily.
Yeah.
Beat chess.
Beat chest is good.
That's such a funny keyword.
It's a lot of the Go Fish. Go Fish is coming out. I'm excited for
Oh,
that.
yeah. I'm excited for that. That sounds so cool. I can't wait to look at my opponent in the eye and say, "Go fish." I'm excited for that. So now that we've kind of discussed a little bit about Enigma, Aurora is kind of, unless they hit something in the BNR,
Mhm.
coming out. I think I asked in the Purple Discord, and they said May 23rd ish
I think they
is the next
could.
BNR. I think they could.
And
But if they don't,
well, I don't want to move past that too fast. I want to see what you think they could hit in Aurora, because Aurora is the deck to beat. Aurora is gatekeeping in a new way, where I feel
You're right,
like
you're right.
Brute actually had a decent matchup into Enigma, where like, or at least like I feel like Reinar, actually all of them. I take that back. It's all of them. All of them have a decent Enigma matchup, where Intimidate was really good. The generic go again and like throwing 2 big attacks in a turn is like solid, and then um the late game of Levia being able to just play extra cards and like block a little bit more as needed in the late game state. Like I feel like their Enigma matchup wasn't bad, but
And your Blood Rush Fellow turns are just like instant board wipes.
for I would say for anyone but KO, because KO I think struggles to hit those ceilings to
Yeah.
truly board wipe, but his consistent damage like does very well. Um, I think that like the biggest problem with the Brute class, they can't really handle Rune Blades in any sense, including Aurora, which Aurora is the most ninja Rune Blade there is. But to pitch for like the random arcane that Aurora can do is so below rate for the Brutes that they can't.
Right.
And I think that Brute is being gatekept by Aurora at this moment.
That makes sense. Like if we just look at Aurora's matchup spread, like I have it pulled up here. Like let me go through it real quick. 65% into KO, 75% into Levia, 70% into Reinar. So those are just all almost auto wins for her if you sit down at the table.
Yep.
So
I'm looking at a list of Aurora, and I'm not really seeing any one card that they could just ban.
See, that's
and make
the
her
issue.
Bad.
I have one. I have one.
Arc Lightning.
No.
No. You
Electromagnetic.
can't say steal. Oh yeah, no, that card needs to
That card, as much as like, oh, it's crazy in Starvo, the 6 value off of one card where they just get to keep all these attacks in their hand still, I
And
think
block with them.
that's what
That's
I'm
like
saying.
having a 6-card hand.
Yeah.
It's
You block
It's-
6 and then return them to your hand and then attack for 8
Yes,
because all of your cards are 0 for 4 go again.
Yep.
So
I think that is probably the one card I think that would pull her back and make her more fair.
what sucks about that getting hit though is that like Acilio just catches a stray.
Well, Acilio doesn't need that. I think Acilio, because here's the thing. Sure, Acilio doesn't get to go as crazy on the turns where he does Blast to Oblivion, but he runs so many other instant cards.
You're right.
Where like it's redundant. That card is redundant on the turn you're going to use it, because the turn you're going to use it is Gone in a Flash. Gone in a Flash is doing that anyways with any instant that you play. I think that sure, like the defensive tech was good for was a better proposition and like probably more reasonable proposition in Acilio than it was in Aurora. But Aurora just gets to abuse it. And I think that the stray that Acilio catches, it's just replaced by another instant that he can like probably still use.
Fair enough. I could see that.
I'm looking at these cards and there's some 0 for 5s in the deck. I'm like, why? Why is that a thing?
Burn up and shock is a 0
No,
for 5.
the static shock, you get to do 1 arcane and it's 0 for 4.
I think that's okay though. I think that because it doesn't have like inherent go again. Same with Arcanic Shockwave, where it's like sure they're 0 for 5s, but they're conditional 0 for 5s.
Right.
Okay,
Same thing
yeah,
could
I
be said about
guess.
Snatch, where it's like Snatch is potentially a 7 value card, but
Yeah.
it's like, oh, if I just get to do the thing. While Electromagnetic Somersault, you
Just does it.
you just does it
You
does
just
it.
do the thing.
It just
The
does it.
only way that card gets disrupted is with negate. No,
Yeah.
Aetherize, or
Hmm.
Vaporize Shock.
Vaporize Shock too.
No,
And
sorry,
also
Null Shock.
Null
The
Shock. There we
wizards.
go. Yeah.
Wizards
The
can
wizard
mess
class.
with it, but that's the only class that has any reasonable
And
interaction.
actually, it's just a Cilio because I'm pretty sure Null Shock is just lightning.
Yeah, Null Shock is
So
Lightning Wizard.
yeah,
It's
just a
it's
Cilio.
it's one of the meld cards.
Yeah.
Do you guys like Lightning Valley?
I think it's fine. I think
The
I
that
card's
don't
fine.
like that it's an instant that you can play on their turn, get a card, and then play it on your turn. Like get the card for your turn too. I don't like that it can do that.
I think the numbers on it is okay. I think the numbers on it is fine. I don't think it's unreasonable. I think because it's one of those power cards that's like, oh, I'm using it to push a turn a little further than it could be usually. I think it's okay. I think the numbers it presents are reasonable. I think that electromagnetic somersault is not. And I think
Yeah.
that, and if nothing else, they just ban red. Like,
That's
sure,
true.
just ban red of it. Like, yellow and blue, go for it, play them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so
Definitely.
wait, what is the yellow or blue version of
It
electromagnetic
changes
somersault do?
The
It
cost.
changes the cost that you can bring back.
So yellow is 1 or more,
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
blue is
0,
2 or
okay.
more. That's why they really limited it in Living
LL.
and Legend. Yeah, because Starvo just got to run
Starvo.
all of them and got to bounce all his attacks back because
Like,
he doesn't run an
listen,
attack that isn't less than 3 cost.
Yeah, okay.
imagine this. Imagine they play a Starvo plays because she's not familiar with LL, but imagine Starvo plays Okanold because he's a Earth, Lightning, and is Earth, Lightning, and Ice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Earth, Lightning, and Ice. So he plays Okanold, fuses it with Electromagnetic Somersault, returns it back to hand, and then sends it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But does Okanold have Gogan?
Starvo's Hero Text. Starvo's Hero Text says if you reveal a Lightning, Earth, and Ice card from your hand, the first attack gets +2, Dominate, go again. So
and Okanold already gets +2 from
No.
So you can throw fused Okanold with like one of the dual cards, and then the electromagnetic somersault, bounce it
I don't
back,
even like
and then
Okanold
throw it
in
again
Jarl.
without its fused effect, but still like
Yeah.
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 Okay, I
And then
understand.
also not to mention the defensive tech of that, because Bravo has one of his specializations has the Unity keyword, which is like if it blocks with
Right.
another card, you get an extra effect. It's make a seismic surge token. So you block with the Unity card, which has it's a 10 power crush card that has a pretty reasonable effect into some matchups, where you block with it and another attack, bounce them both back, and then on your turn you throw the specialization that's been discounted by its own effect. It's you can do some pretty crazy nonsense with that deck. With
No,
that card.
I play
That card
I'm
was
glad I play
definitely a
CC.
mistake. That card was definitely a mistake.
I think it made limited more interesting, but I think as in the constructed format, it's really impressive to some turns.
How hard if they do hit that? How hard do you think they hit it?
I could
is
see
it
them
like
just
restricted to 1? Is it
I think that CC is really interesting in how they approach it when like bans, because they hit in LL, they limit it to 1 in the deck. And then the Kraken's Aetherweave was just too stupid that they were just like, okay, this is fully gone. But everything else is like, you can run 1. You can run 1.
Yeah.
I think they're avoiding that with CC. I think that they might. I think if anything, they could just hit red. Like you can still play yellows and blues. Go for it. Acilio, play with the yellows and blues.
Yeah.
So I could see them just restricting it to 1 only because it seems like in the last couple sets we haven't really gotten like for example Syndra, Fang, and other than like the armor for Arachne, Marionette, none of them have specializations.
Right?
they have pseudo specializations. Like there's
Yeah.
the Draconic Ninja legendary attack action.
Are we sure that's not a specialization?
It doesn't
Yeah.
say Fang specialization. It says like
Legendary?
legendary
legendary.
1 per deck, and then it says it has to be a warrior. Like who is it for?
Let me see this.
It looks. Yeah, go ahead.
What's it
looks
called?
like within the internal design space, they're starting to give classes these like one of power cards. So like, I could see them restricting it to 1.
Christian, what is the card called?
Which one?
The one that's
Fang?
for Syndra.
For Syndra, it's
Wrath of Retribution.
Yeah. Yep. And then Fang's is Fire and Brimstone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because whenever I play, my second deck is Syndra, so it definitely just says
Even cards like Blood Runs Deep and
Ninja on it. Yeah, legendary. You may only have 1.
Yeah.
And then Draconic Ninja, because there's only 1 Draconic Ninja in the game. Or
False. There is 2.
Phi. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
It's Phi.
I think it's okay that they did it this way because it means like it still leaves the design space open.
Yeah.
Which
Maybe
could
they
be
plan
like
on having another Draconic Ninja in like 5 years.
Yeah, I mean they did the same thing with Mistveil. All of the sacred arts, they're not specializations.
Yeah, true.
They're in the same boat.
Yeah.
True.
I think I like that because I mean I think it's cool that each person can have 1 card that's special for them. Like Germinate is cool, but I like that they're kind of leaving it open for new heroes that they might be able to use this card still. Because I like the mechanic of this.
Yeah.
It feels really good every time I use it. I do like a 30 card or 30 damage turn. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah. They're pretty nutso.
Yeah. And with Aurora, so let's say they don't hit anything, and then how likely is it that Aurora LLs in PQ season?
I don't think it's that likely.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could happen. I see it like being still a possibility. But I think that the hero, like, with other things rising up, the hero could get brought down a little bit, is like the biggest thing. Because like Guardians, I feel like she could have a pretty rough time in the Guardians. Because if she has an off turn and gives them a window, they can present a really like reasonable crush effect. Like I think mainly Spinal Crush. Like Spinal Crush is really a big one into her. I've seen people running towering one of the like ones that if you get it to 13, if it hits, like it like does an extra thing. There's Smack to Reality is the card specifically that destroys all the auras on the table. If it's 13 or more damage and it hits, it destroys all auras on the table. And I feel like there's certain cards like it takes a little bit of setup and like this and that, but that's kind of the Guardian class as a whole. If you give them a breathing room, there's potential for them to try to like really disrupt you.
Yeah.
And I think
even like Cranial Crush hits Aurora because like Channel Light
can't draw cards.
cards.
Yeah. And
it's not as important in the matchup because it's like only relevant if they have CLV, but CLV is their power card. So if you want to hit Aurora, then throw Cranial Crush at them.
Yeah, I don't think she'll LL in this PQ season. I think she's gonna get points. Without a doubt, she'll get points, and I feel like she's still in contention to be the top deck finisher of the meta every week. But I don't think that she's gonna fully leave because I think with
aggro is just not like the main thing in the meta right now. I don't think. After Enigma leaves, I guess.
Yes, with Enigma leaving, it's gonna change. I think it's really gonna be a very Wild West and very open meta because it won't have like. Sure, Aurora might just be the best deck in format, but I think that it opens the door to a lot of other things that were pushed out because Enigma just existed.
Right.
So wait, did we already say exactly which decks were the ones that Enigma said, "Hey, I hate you"?
It's basically like every Guardian, every Warrior. Let's see what.
Teklovasan, which is
Jarl gets
Guardian.
better without Enigma around.
Mechs in general.
Yeah.
Brutes in general.
No. Brute is being gatekept by Aurora. Aurora is the one that's gatekeeping the Brute class. I think Ranger Guardian, Mech as a whole. I'll agree with Mech as a whole.
Florian as the
I don't.
Guardian.
Yeah,
So
Florian is an extra Guardian.
I don't think Enigma really gatekeeps Ranger that much.
I don't know.
Just coming as I play a lot of the like that matchup. And I know like every single Enigma main and every single Riptide main or Azalea main, like I know it's bad for Azalea, but um, I think I'm favored into Enigma, and I
Mm-hmm.
know that Enigmas think they're favored into Riptide. So there's like that whole like one side says one thing and the other side says the other.
Sure.
But I fatigued a Prism in Charlotte with Riptide,
Mm-hmm.
which is not supposed to happen, but as a Ranger. But and I don't think he played poorly at all. I think he played really well. He
You
played
just
the
play
matchup.
Fatigue Riptide. That's all it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Enigma's not as gatekeepy as like if Prism comes back, that's definitely rough
I was gonna
For
ask,
for Rangers and a lot.
yeah, that's
do
fair.
you
Like
think
really bad. It's really bad. You cannot you can't prevent the on hits of the heralds, and you just naturally have a low popper rate because
Which could easily have been why Rangers haven't been prevalent. I think like we've
Yeah.
we've boiled it down a little bit into like, okay, 3 best decks in the meta, like thinking of Pro Tour, the two
Yeah.
illusionists and Aurora. And each of them kind of can keep out a different class. Where brutes
Mhm.
are usually favored into illusionists. They fold to Aurora. The Rangers, who could pretty much could try to disrupt the Aurora, Guardians as well, are being kept gate kept by one of the two illusionists. And I
Yeah.
think like that, boiling it down in that way is really like eye opening to being like, oh well, if this hero goes out, then like these ones can rise up, and what does that mean for the other best decks in format? And I think that's kind of where that is.
And also, I don't even like. I know that I said like the aim counter builds are really good, but I don't think like traditional Azalea can like. I know she has like Red in the Ledger and it's Red in the Ledger, but as the Aurora, like I feel like you just do so much damage consistently
Mm-hmm.
that it's really hard for Azalea to find those turns.
Sure.
And so I think Aurora is another hero that's like gatekeeping Rangers a lot. Like even as Riptide, like I have access to traps that can
And you
like
can
turn
still
off their
just
burn up
lose.
shots. Exactly. Sometimes you just lose. Like, it's really bad because the one thing that you have to combat Aurora is your traps, and she can just start with Exude Confidence with a go again, and you're just like, I
she
can't
runs a
play
lot
Furious.
of Shelter of the Storm too, right? Because you can
Yeah.
block the little chain
Shelter of the
damage from the
Storm is
trap.
one of the default. And I think the biggest thing with Shelter was like when it was revealed, it was like, could this be better than Sink Below? Which it was like, and it's
Mm-mm.
the I don't think it is. I think Sink Below is better, and that's a conversation for another day. But I
I
think
love
Yeah,
me some Sink
yeah, yeah.
Below when my hand sucks.
the flexibility of Shelter, along with like it kind of like really trumping some turns from many different heroes, and like it can function as a blue into rune blades. It can help against the flick knives decks. It does a lot of things flexibly, like keeps the flexibility high,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and can buy you more room in certain matchups against certain heroes. And I think absolutely that could be like a thing into Riptide.
Yeah.
It's
I would. I have a question that has. Oh, you have something
no. Go ahead.
else?
Go ahead. What's up?
It has nothing to do with this, but I was thinking about the Guardian Mastery Pack, and I know that it's probably going to be mostly generic because of the crack shuffle play.
Yeah.
But do you have hope for Jarl be getting better with any of the Guardian cards
Ooh,
in
that's
there? Because
another deck that I think uh comes up in play post Enigma
Yeah. I think
because
he
Jarl doesn't get targeted by new.
no.
There's the builds that people are on don't have any blue attacks that really like incentivize um new to play.
The issue I have with that is, what does your end game look like as Jarl? If you're
yeah,
in those matchups, what are you doing when your deck is all blues?
So I've played against Jarl a lot against him, and I just feel like he's really annoying. He does a lot of annoying things, but he never has like the all right, you're gonna the finisher. You know, there's nothing. You're just stopping me from winning slower. Like that's all you're doing.
And that's into probably like I'm assuming Florian, which Florian,
Yeah.
his end game is phenomenal. Like Florian like plays for this long game naturally, whether it's OTK or not. He can have this like stupid end game state where it's just like, oh, I'm gonna germinate, make a billion rune chance, and then your next turn you're dead. Or I have this like you're at low enough health, I have one more felling the crown, and felling the crown says, hey, here's 8 plus 3, here's 11 points of value because you're putting a card on the bottom of your deck, and plus whatever rune chance I'm sending at you. I think that Jarl's endgame state isn't as strong. And I think there's a point where Jarl just can kind of flop. If you're
He runs
building
out
it
of stuff.
scared of new. I think because you're a guardian, you could build it in a way where your endgame state's good, but new makes it rough. And I think Jarl is one of those decks that like he's still been in the meta because some of the cards that he has access to are still some of the most powerful ones in the game. With like Oakenolds, um with Vellings, like uh there's a lot of things he has access to. But
I have a feeling that with a lot of the MST heroes leaving, he's able to run a more ice focused build.
Yeah.
Because there's less heroes in the format after the MST heroes leave that can actually like reasonably pitch to all these ice effects. That his end game would just be fused Oakenold a couple times and steal tempo with that. And I think
Like stacking, you mean?
Yeah, and I think that if he can time lock his opponent good enough with like a CLV turn, I'm the biggest not Sledge. What's his hammer? Summit. I'm the biggest Summit hater there is. I can't
Summit
stand
sucks.
the fact
Summit's
that
bad. Summit's so bad.
I can't. I'm so mad that the fact that they made it 6. But I do think that into matchups where one Frostbite can like make or break a turn, Summit's actually like a plausible end game.
I
The
don't think so.
concept with heavy is
And-
cool.
Yeah.
I really like the concept that you can have a shield, break it, and then it becomes like stronger, but it
Costing
costs too much.
2 whole blues
Mhm.
sucks.
Yeah.
Because Sledge is so good because you
Yeah.
tunic and a blue. And at that point,
Right.
you're goaded. And I think
Well, maybe they figured it was endgame stuff. Because like once you have only blues left from pitching it all,
The issue with this is my issue with Summit is Summit works great in a vacuum, but once you involve a game that has a format that doesn't rotate, the more 0-for-4s that they print for aggro decks, that it just becomes more impossible to run weapons like Summit, because once a deck is like, because back then in the day, you like with things like Oldham fatigue, like those decks could like reasonably be fatigued because they had such a limited access to these go wide avenues.
yeah.
But now like because there's no rotating, like now you have new tools plus the existing tools, and like you see decks like Syndra, like it's hard to fatigue that sometimes when their whole deck is when there's
Just
60
throwing
cards
dumb
0-4.
damage.
Yeah, every
Aurora's
turn, like,
another one. Aurora and
exactly.
Syndra are in that same boat where they're just like it's hard.
It's hard to fatigue because half of their deck is just like outvalues yours.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited that maybe we'll get a Guardian Aura in the Mastery Pack that reduces the cost of Hammer Swings.
Okay.
Or that's like
inverse, a hammer that gets cheaper from seismic surges.
Yeah.
I think that's
Jarl would use seismic surges?
I mean, he can. Like all the Guardians can, and they've already teased some new cards that like do some cool things with seismic surges. That new yellow instant speed, make 3 seismic surges, phenomenal.
That card's crazy.
That card's gonna be really strong.
What do you think of the shield?
I don't remember what the new shield does.
Okay,
Hold on.
So the new shield is a, I can't remember the base block. It might be 1, and then it gets +2 if you have 3 or more seismics, and then +4 if you have 6 or more seismics.
Yeah,
So it's
it
a
could be
5
up
block.
to 5.
Is it
It could be a
Gargoyle
5
or is it a?
well.
Okay, I think it's good. I think Valda's going to be interesting because of the way that she can just force
Yeah.
make a bunch of not rune chance. Sorry, I've been playing too much Vincent. That's a conversation for
Yeah.
today. But it's essentially the same. Like it's making your
Yeah.
attacks cheaper, and she can just make
Yeah.
so many seismic surges that it's pretty good.
Her new spec is exactly what I had envisioned when
It's fire. Oh, it's real
yeah,
exciting.
That card's really good. It's almost like forcing your opponent to, like, even though like it could be like if you're on the other side, you could just be like, oh, this hand sucks. I'm gonna take 10, or is it 9? I can't remember. But I'm gonna take the damage. I'm gonna shuffle my hand and draw a new hand. But you just gave Valda 4 seismics. She could like full block you and then send like a spinal off Tunic.
Another thing
like
is
that's crazy.
now someone runs the chess piece that makes seismic surge when you draw cards. That's why she was such an interesting deck in the Blitz format. Like you just run you can run like potions of luck, you can run sifts, you can run all these things that are just like, oh, refill your hand, and then you make seismic surges equal to those cards drawn. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah. I think as soon as High Seas is out, like, so I know Valda is, so Master Pack comes out after High Seas, but Valda's legal before, right?
Yes, because I believe she is because she's a promo for some events, I believe.
Which probably limits the amount of people that play her, but I do think that at high level tournaments, once High Seas comes out, there's going to be a lot of Valda.
It's going to be a similar thing, I believe, to the Blitz Wizard. The Blaze. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Very similar to Blaze, where I think like people who want to play her, they're gonna play her, and like they're gonna find ways to play her. It might be really expensive, but
yeah. At least until the Master Pack comes out.
Yep.
And depending on the foil treatment, I think it's cold foil, right?
For sure. I think it is.
Yeah.
Do I get to say how excited I am to build Necromancer because I want a deck full of all marvels?
Little men.
Yeah.
No, because okay, listen, I came from Pokemon, right? And I could get gold. Everything in my deck could just be my little baby. That could be like
I'm
glitter
assuming
shiny everywhere.
You came in after Dromai.
Yes, it was post Dromai.
Yeah,
so
I was Rosetta. I started in Rosetta.
Gotcha. So all the Prism and diehard Dromai fans, every single player that I've ever played against have the Marvel version of all the Figments, have the Marvel version of all the dragons. So like they just, and I know when they would have them too, they'd have like the normal version in their deck, and then they would have like a stack set aside that's just like, oh, I'm gonna play this and flip it. Here's my Marvel Angel. Here's my Marvel Dragon from outside of the game. That I'm just like, oh, I have this ready to go. I'm just kind of here. And then also like they love bling out the hero. I have a local who is building, who actually, sorry, has built a Prism LL deck, OG Prism, where he's spent the time and the money to get every single card in that deck to maximum rarity. The only thing that isn't at maximum rarity is, I believe, the hero, because the hero is like the most rare one is the one that came in the statue, which was like a prize, and I'm sure it's selling for stupid money.
Which is now in the gold packs.
Yeah.
When I first started playing the game and he was like, pick a hero, and I was like, okay, Prism looks really cool, but I learned very quickly. I learned very quickly that I didn't really love the playstyle of Prism just because it was so confusing, especially it was going to be my first ever hero. But I pulled a Marvel Angel. I was like, okay, so I'm going to need them to come out with a new that is like a siren or something. It could be a mermaid, but then they showed me the allies for Necromancer, and I was like, you're the one that I'm
get a funny little stinky guy that looks awesome. That's
I love
sick. That is pretty cool.
I will say, when High Seas first came out and they presented us with 2 female pirates, and then one like dead guy. I was like, I kind of wanted a stinky old man with gold teeth,
Yeah. They're too
like
clean.
a
They're
little
too
drunkard.
clean.
I wanted my Pirate Ranger to be like, I wanted the trench art. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you know,
Which the door's
maybe
always
they're
open.
saving it.
I mean,
Yeah, maybe they're saving it.
Pirate's a class all its own, baby. So they can
True.
just be like,
It is.
here's a pirate guy. Here's just generic pirate man number 3, who can't play trench, but he's still a pirate.
Yeah. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the fact that we're getting like, I think it's only like 10 pirate cards.
Really?
Yeah.
I've like kind of stayed kind of in the dark with some of the stuff. I like to be surprised by things. I really like
Yeah.
just kind of seeing stuff come out. That's a little surprising to me.
I think the number's higher
You
than
mean
that, but I
pirate
know it's really
only?
low. Yeah, pirate only. It's
Already
low.
seen
The
one of
number's
them.
low. Yeah.
Actually, 2,
Yes.
3
The
more.
pirate ship.
I keep counting even higher.
The pirate ship, the arms, and
The legs, the peg leg, and
right,
sunken
right.
treasure.
Okay. Yep.
That's a lot. That's half of them.
Yeah.
Almost half. It's almost half. If it's 10, it's almost half.
So that begs the question from me on Marlin is if her weapon costs 4 and routinely most of the ranger blues that we have are not great. And she doesn't have the ability to dip into a pirate card pool of blues other than like sunken treasure, which she'll probably run because being able to block an assassin's dagger and turn over their only CNC when you know there's a codex in their hand
Mm-hmm.
is like really good. That's something that we've talked about in the Riptide Discord is the ability to just turn a CNC and like like the one of CNC that's in the assassin's graveyard at the time face down is just like
Yeah.
until they find another one. You don't have to worry about codex.
Add or leave, no. Yeah, very similar.
Yeah, exactly. So she'll definitely run that, but other than that, she doesn't have like a massive pirate card pool of blues to dig into. So
I can think of a couple other blues that may already be see play. Like I could see like This Round's on Me being good in the deck. And if nothing else, you might just be stuck running some blue arrows. And like
yeah,
as unfortunate as that is, it might be what it is. Because I don't like Try Shot's another one. I don't know how much that card blocks for.
it's 3.
It's 3. That's another
Yeah.
like okay one. But I think if you're like tapping a bow, I don't think that Try Shot works to untap it and let you replay it. Unless LSS comes out with something that
Yeah,
like
they probably will.
mentions something. Because I think the interesting thing about tap that's coming out is tap is easily saving space on the card that says once per turn action. And like that's
Yeah,
the thing it's doing is saying
that's all it is. That's literally all it is.
it's limiting the amount of times per turn cards can be used.
Yeah.
I will say, I think it. Obviously, I think they're making it like that so they can have really pretty extended art, so that they can keep it a minimum. But
Reduce the
also,
red
they
and
can
the
have yeah, and so that they can have cards that say untap, so that like if it says once per turn, like there's no way you can say, oh, now you can do it twice per turn. It's more
yeah.
of a like
There's got
a
to be some
mechanic thing that
mechanic. Sure,
yeah.
that makes sense.
I know I mentioned to you privately about the Gold Kiss rum.
Yeah,
So I watched a video from DM Armada today.
I did watch the same one.
Okay. So you heard about him mention the Gold Kiss rum being able to give the allies go again
Yes.
because they're actions, they're not just
Yes.
allies.
Yes.
So another thing that me and Yanina have talked about is that these allies don't look like they flip.
Yes. And that's something
Because
I pointed out pretty early where it's like, which is another thing DMR want to talk about too, where it's like, oh, can they block? Do they block?
exactly.
I think
Right.
it's going to be the answer will be no, they do not block because Gravy Bones whole hero text. I think it's going to be a mission to put them in your graveyard. It'll be a mission to get them there to start with, and then once they're there, pulling them out again and being able to actively use them. I think it's going to be like a very like sequential, like you have to do things in this order, otherwise you're not going to get the maximum value out of your turn.
I told him that I don't realistically it doesn't make sense for them to have a back because it says Watery Grave
They're
is like only
flipped.
active if it's flipped or
yeah.
upside down or something in graveyard.
Yep.
So if you can flip it, then what if the other side says something about water grave? That just doesn't make any sense. So
Yeah. Also, I was gonna say something. I lost my train of thought. It was about the allies.
not blocking.
Oh yes, I think it's gonna be kind of similar to like how Acilio, because Gravy Bones' ability is an instant, where you destroy a gold to discard a card and draw a card. If you do need to block, it's going to be very similar to Acilio, where you activate Gravy Bones' ability, discard one of your allies, and then draw a new card, block, and then maybe still play that ally out.
Yeah. That makes sense.
If there's some ability for us to play the allies out as instants.
Another thing about the deck too is like his secondary effect of like if you put a blue into your graveyard this turn, you can play out water grave cards.
Yes.
You're also going to probably want like playable blues that are just like either more than likely non-attacks, but also like whatever attack, what have you,
Yeah.
to be like, okay, I'm going to close the chain, or I'm going to play this non-attack that immediately enters the graveyard, which then lets me play these other things. And of
Like
course,
a blue go again, non-attack.
yeah, like Call to the Grave, like
Yeah.
Chart the High Seas, which is the new one.
Yep.
It has Go Again on the card.
Yeah.
I can see another one being another like my
What's that card? The
Just
new one.
What does Trot
Trot
Along
along?
say?
Yeah, was I gonna say that?
What
next
does that say?
I don't know if it's
Less than 3 power
attack.
gets go again.
Is it your next
Your next
attack?
attack.
It is next attack because you can use it on Florian's
Okay.
weapon.
Mhm.
So that could also be another card that like
If the ally can
if there's
get
an
go
ally,
again, you think?
yes. Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm geeking out so hard. I really want to necromancer.
Because like looking at like Chum and Rigor Mortis, they're like their action, tap action, attack in bold letters, similar to weapons. So I can see Trot Along being in his deck too if there's like little dinky skeletons.
Yeah,
I'm
so
straight up
that's what
putting
I'm
that in.
thinking. Like,
Do you think there's gonna be token 1/1 skeletons that
Maybe.
you can summon?
I can see.
I think so. I don't think they'll have go again.
Oh no.
No,
They can block,
definitely
I
not.
think. I think they're gonna be block meat. Some like
It's
prevent
health.
the next 1 damage.
I don't know. I think about
Well, 'cause we
Ashwings.
have-
I think about
Yeah.
Ashwings and like, but the way he may play, they may be playing way more cautious when it comes to like a board state and allies with him than they did with Dromai, because Dromai like could run the table because of making Ashwings, like making all these
Yeah.
things. Sure, Phantasm was there, but some decks couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Like Ranger,
It
I
was
think
like-
being one of them. Ranger was a huge, like Dromai gate kept Ranger pretty hard.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was rough. I don't think they'll have go again. I think they might be kind of similar to just like there's the one ally that lets you tap it and prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to you or I think it says pirate ally you control.
Is that Rigor
I think it does.
It's exclusive to the Armory deck.
Oh, I
yeah.
maybe missed that.
Yeah, it's a I think it's a 6/2. I think.
Oh yeah, it's the doctor. It's the doctor. It's the doctor guy. Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot more allies that we see with 1 HP. So whether they're 4 for 1 or 4 and 1 or something, we could get some 1/1s. I have an idea of like a Gravy Bones like specialization that like just raises an army of little skeletons, and then for like it'll be like for the turn your allies have go again or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like allies with less than 1 attack have go 1/1
Yeah.
with 3 of them or something.
I think they're gonna. I think there'll be a cool way to like give allies go again for the turn versus naturally having go again like Dromai did just for pitching a red.
Yeah.
I
mean, we've also already seen the like
or playing red.
the arm. No, what was it? The offhand. The offhand that says first time you play one, they get go again. We haven't seen what the weapon looks like yet, which is another thing.
I'm so excited. I think it's gonna be like a lantern, or like I don't know.
So more of an illusionist level of weapon than other stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Because think about it, like a mage or like a necromancer, they're not really gonna have like a weapon.
But he is a pirate.
A crystal. Right. Oh, I guess if he is a pirate, it might
could
be
have
like
a one-handed saber or something.
Yeah. Oh, like those skinny swords where he's like on guard.
Oh, like a rapier.
He doesn't look like the
Some
rapier type.
some
He
pirates
looks like
have
he has like
that.
the big like curved cutlass that
Yeah.
has like the hand guard on it. If he doesn't, I'd be
Oh
so upset
yeah.
because he's the
Yeah.
only one of the 3 heroes that I could see actually running like a sword
Like a
weapon.
pirate.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
pirate weapon. Because you're running a cannon with Marlin. You're gonna run a
Yeah.
gun in Puffin because
Yeah.
you're gonna run like this rifle or flintlock or something like
Yeah.
that, which would be
That's,
cool.
I'm curious to see what the
Like
design space
pistol
they
puffin.
explore for a pirate mech in terms of weapons. My thought process kind of goes to like a blunderbuss, kind of
I can see it.
like a little
Like
like a
she's in
mini
the crow's
shotgun.
nest with this
Yeah,
massive. Yeah, that'd
exactly.
be sick.
That'd be really cool. Because like her whole like thing is like she's using her airships to attack.
Which is
But what
exciting.
happens? But what happens when the opponent gets too close? Then she has the blunderbuss to just like blow them off, you know. So that's kind of like where my thought process goes when I think about like a weapon for her.
Hmm.
And I like the. I also think that she's gonna replace Slapdash
I can see it.
in design space because from what we've seen so far, at the very least, uh, using these golden cogs to block more is like kind of what Slapdash just wants to do is like set up these, make defend really well and then attack for,
I don't know. That was one card. The other cards that she's
correct,
shown
correct.
is pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
But to be fair, they're not boost, which I think Diamamata also
Mhm.
called that out in one of his recent videos where it's not boost, it's tapping a cog to do something else.
Yeah.
And you're not like doubling down on your deck damage.
Yeah.
You're kind of just throwing these on rate or above with your cog setup. And I think that is really interesting and going to be really cool from a design space
Yeah.
standpoint.
I'm curious to see how she'll keep the golden cogs around because they only enter with one steam counter and she has to crank it to get her action point back.
Yes. Yeah. I think
So
it's like it may be a max thing. Like it may be similar
yeah,
to max in a sense, which is
I hope
interesting.
I hope it's not on her weapon like Max. I hope
Yeah.
it's like a different design space.
Yeah. They may print more
'Cause
cards.
it'd be really kind of disappointing just to see like, oh, this is just Banksy but for golden
Banksy,
cogs.
but
You know what
again.
I mean? Yeah, Banksy but again, but with golden cogs instead of hyperdrivers. Like, I definitely want to see them like maybe print a card that's like, uh, that lets you just refresh all the counters on them, like
Hmm.
And
kind of similar to System Reset, but
something like that comes out, max stocks, they go up.
yeah.
They go up too.
Oh yeah, they do for sure.
Christian,
Yes.
now that I know for a fact that that symbol means tap, I was looking at the cards that got released, and
Mm-hmm.
this is a 0 for 5. Tap an ally. If you do, it gets
Yes.
plus 1. It's a 5.
Yes, the Necromancer.
That's crazy. The hoist 'em up.
Oh yeah.
That's so good. I feel like I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for these like tap an ally and then you can do this. Like even if the allies aren't great, it's like
Mhm.
a new resource system just for these like other cards that allow you to do other things with tapping.
Which would be good if you have a bunch of like the teeny guys for the
Mhm.
deck as well.
I
If
like
there's
the
like token
idea
ones.
of the design space of the untapping being at the end of your turn.
Yeah.
Because it gives like a whole new utility to those cards. Because it's like if I tap this ally to make this card block 5, then when it comes to my turn, that ally is still tapped,
Yeah.
and so now I can't attack with it. So I definitely
It's
like the. It's different than Illusionist, and I like that.
I like it the
that
most because it sticks in line with this survivability between your turn the turn cycle rather because it's the same as the card draw system, right? Where
Mhm.
it's like at the end of your turn you draw, and it's this inverse of Magic where it's like start of every turn you upkeep, you draw a card, upkeep. Well, Flesh and Blood, it's like, okay, what does this hand do when I draw it up at the end of my turn? How can I both survive your turn and be aggressive on my own? And I think that it's still playing in that space that is like I feel like probably one of the best design points of Flesh and Blood as a card
Mm.
game. And I think it asks this really good question that makes the game feel very like interactive back and forth. So I like that a lot.
I like that you're gonna have to think about like, do I swing with this ally or do I leave it open? It extra block
Yeah.
or an extra this one that says prevent 1 damage. If you yes, it's a 1 for attack, but like if you're close to dying, you might need to save him, tapping to get that 1 value of damage.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. All these cards are really like. So also when I first started playing this game, I saw the art and I was like, oh, it's pretty good. But like these new sets, the art is getting so good, and I'm really excited. Like every single card that they've released, it just is so
feel like
pretty. It is so pretty.
Missville Forward. Missville Forward like doing that. And I think more than anything else, I've been reorganizing my collection lately and like kind of going through all my cards. I just was looking at all of the Mystic cards. Even like 95% of them you don't even play. And the art of them just looks so cool. And like the foiling on some of them look
The
awesome.
Marvel Chi.
Yeah, Marvel Chi,
Oh my
beautiful.
God. I love the board the ship one where the guy's like, I got you,
I
bro.
like the reaction
I'm on my
image.
way.
I like the reaction image that's been going around like Blue Sky and X right now with it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really funny.
It's great. I definitely think I love the Marvel Guardian attacks that are in that
They
are
look gorgeous.
dude, they're so good, and the fact that they say target Guardian hero, like just like, oh, I was like, I can't play these into any hero that isn't a Guardian. That sucks.
So this Rigor Mortis and the other one, Sawbone, are both 1 for 6 attacks. I feel like, I guess that's like
They
the average
cost,
that they're
yeah.
all be. Well, he costs 1 to put out. The other one costs 2 to put out, but he has no extra ability. Like he can't get tapped to prevent damage.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm really excited. I like that they have barely any text as well. I have a suspicion that there's going to be some really pretty extended arts in the gem packs.
Yeah, I can definitely.
Especially for Rigor Mortis.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah, definitely like just the fact that they're starting to add in like Marvel attack actions. It's like super cool because like I can just picture like for example, like the 2 for 6 harpoon with like the Kraken on it as like a Marvel. That would be dude, that would be so sick.
Yeah.
The Marvel Golden Harpoon is like that is a stunning card.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So I'm really excited to see the design space for just the art on the cards, like having more Marvel attack actions. Because like if you think about it, what's like the best way to reduce the cost of like just like the base art? It's to print higher version.
Yeah,
art,
higher rarity.
So like,
yep.
Yeah. So like
eventually
we could get like a Marvel CNC. We could get like a Marvel CNC in the future, and like, that card ends up being the $80 CNC.
I thought that the new art for Command and Conquer, I thought that was going to be way more, kind of the same price.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I pulled one.
It's a little more, especially if you want the EA.
I feel like the pull rate's kind of the same as original CNC though. Is like the thing that makes it kind of at the same, which I think is good. Like I think it's good for the game that's like there's more out there, but like you were saying, the price point hasn't changed, which is rough. But
it changed a little bit. I know like CNCs when I was looking to purchase them, they were around like 90, 95. And I think that CNC is down to like 75, 80 now. So it came down a little bit.
Yeah.
Not what everyone was expecting or hoping for, I should say.
Have you guys talked about this Legend of the Watery Grave? Like that's cool.
The amulets?
The diamond amulet. Yeah. Instant destroy this, gain 1 action point. Legend of the Watery Grave, you can only have 1 of it.
Yeah. It's a combination.
Why isn't it called legendary? Why is it called?
It's combining the 2 effects. It's Legend of the Watery Grave because it's legendary and watery grave in one.
So maybe you can use
keyword.
Yeah.
And
like so that they don't put legendary watery. Oh, so could you put this in your discard and then play it? Is that the same?
When this is put into your discard from the arena, yes. So similar to the allies and like the ones that just say watery grave on them. You can
That's awesome.
You can put it in your graveyard. I don't know if Gravy Bones play cards with watery grave from your graveyard. I would need to be sure from like the rules article that they're going to put out when it comes out if you could play those treasures from your graveyard as well.
What I think is cool about this card, it's a generic card, so people can still use it as the get a action point, but the
Yeah.
Legend of the Watery Grave part is like specifically for the necromancer who can go get the watery grave and play
No,
it that turn.
not necessarily.
You're telling me you think watery grave would not be necromancer? They've been what?
No, I'm saying it this way. I'm saying just looking at Diamond Amulet alone, it is a generic, right?
Yep.
The ability to just destroy it and gain an action point is pretty strong for some for some things. Granted, again, it's an item.
It's a
Like
blue.
it's
Kano.
yeah, Kano could
Yeah, I can just-
definitely use it. I'm thinking for the sake of like discard effects. Discard effects aren't from the arena. So
Right.
it was like it's use it. Once you use it while it's on the table, then it goes face down. But like
Yeah.
decks that run remembrance, decks that have
Yeah.
any sort of like graveyard recursion can put it back into your deck and then you can play it. But like this, pardon me, the second it leaves the table and goes face down, then it's like, okay, it's gone forever.
Yeah.
So what does Call to the Grave do? Is it just attacks?
No,
No,
it
it's
is
just put the
card.
card. Yeah.
So you can go get that
Yeah.
3 more times with that card.
Yeah.
Which I don't know that you would, but I'm just saying you could. It's like having 4.
If you put it back, yeah.
It's interesting. It's really interesting.
I was really hoping that the Call to the Grave art was going to be the necromancer, but I'll take Gravy.
Maybe one
he's pretty
day.
cool.
Yeah. The playmat that has that like skull lady on it. I don't know if you want know what I'm talking about.
The one we were
Yeah,
just
yeah.
talking about?
It's clearly another necromancer
Thousand
card
Ringlet?
of some kind. No, there's a new one. There's a new one for another event. That's like
Yeah.
definitely a
Oh.
necromancer something or other.
Yeah.
We just don't know what it
I
is.
remember him showing me that, yeah.
Another reason why I think that Shadow Necromancer is coming in the next set is because that playmat exists.
I can see it.
Yeah.
How bad would it be if I spend all my money to build a fully blinged out Gravy Bows deck and then they come out
With
Necromancer and
Shadow Necromancer.
I say, okay, see you later, Gravy.
Just sell them all. Just sell all the things you don't need, right? It's fine.
Yeah.
Are you gonna need any? I'll sell them to you.
And that's our thoughts today. We'll see you guys next time.